Hey guys, I am back finally. I'm sorry there's been a video gap. So as you can see, the angelfish is in the 29 gallon. All the fish are in here, so now there's the angelfish, a total of 10 Harlequin rasboras, 1 Nerite snail, 2 longfin panacories, because one of the panacories actually died. I'm not exactly sure why. And then 2 ottos. I lost an otto somewhere along the road there too, and I never found a corpse, I guess you could call it. But yeah, so mysteriously disappearing otto, and the panacory was stuck up against the filter intake in the 20 gallon. Unfortunately, yeah. So the fish are in. I put them in yesterday. I was just so excited to get them in here, and it was kind of nerve-wracking moving the angelfish that I just forgot completely about filming it. So unfortunately you didn't get to see that, but here they are finally in here. It's a little bit bubbly still. I just did a water change. So I'm just gonna do an update all around because a lot of things have kind of changed in this tank a little bit. So as you can see, the plants are doing they're doing well, I would say. The plants that are doing the best would be the Tropicosaurs down on the bottom left. Maybe I can zoom in. The Tropicosaurs down there. They haven't really suffered from any yellowing leaves or holes or anything. They're doing well. The Italian valves in the back left corner are slowly growing back in. They melted at first, which is usually what happens to valves when you plant them. But they are getting much better, growing back nice and green. They still look a little bit wispy. They're not quite as strong and thick looking as valves usually are, but I'm sure that will come with time. Next would be the Cypress Hill Fairy right in front of the driftwood there. That's been doing well ever since the beginning, really. There's only a few brown leaves, but it's been sprouting quite a few new leaves at the bottom, and it just looks really cool. It's a nice grassy plant. It kind of has a nice curve out, and I just think it looks really nice. Down in the front is the narrow leaf microsword. It hasn't been doing great by the looks, but actually one thing I noticed just today is that there is one little runner down there, so that shows that they are they're growing. I have a feeling they're going to bounce back. I hope they're going to bounce back. This tank doesn't have quite as much light as it probably needs, but it suffices, and if I add another LED fixture, I'm afraid there's going to be algae problems and growth problems, because I don't want to have to dose too many ferts too often, because that is just an algae bloom waiting to happen. The Rotala rotundifolia in the back, it's steadily growing. It's kind of growing slow. It's not quite as nice looking or red as I hoped it would look, but I think that is also because of the lower light levels. They would probably also benefit from a second light fixture, but they're right underneath the LED strips, so I think it'll work. I'm just gonna give them some more time and see what they do eventually. There's constant signs of new growth, but the older leaves get a little bit of algae on them, which is a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping it would do better in this tank. The next plant, which you don't really see in any of the wider shots, but right down there is one of the 2 plants I have of the Crypt Blassie. The leaves had holes in them and they were yellowing, so I cut all the leaves off of that, and that is one of the newer leaves down there. There is the second plant right in between those 2 pieces of driftwood. Those leaves are growing back a lot nicer. I haven't been able to see that red color on the bottom yet, but that's one of the defining characteristics of that plant, and I really hope that it stays red and dark green on top. Next will be the angelfish, just kidding, but actually the Amazon swords in the back. Now, you saw in my first video of the plants, and I had a Reuben sword in the back right corner, and I had mentioned that it was melting. But unfortunately, I cut all the leaves down and hoped it would grow back newer leaves. But it never bounced back, so it just ended up being a rotting little root ball. And I just tore it out because I actually realized now that there really wouldn't have been room for it, considering how big these Amazon swords are getting already. That one main sword in the back right corner behind the angelfish has stayed pretty healthy and large throughout this whole entire period. You see that purling right there on the micro sword. That's not even purling. That's just either dirt, gas coming out of the dirt, or a leaf decaying. I've seen that before. But yeah, the Amazon swords have been doing pretty well. There's that one main plant in the corner, and there's also one plant that sprouts right out of the substrate, peeking right around the corner of that bottom edge of the driftwood. That one has been doing okay as well. It doesn't have as many leaves, but I assume it'll grow bigger eventually. And then down in the front here is my newest experiment. That was one of the big, I guess you could say runner, I'm not sure what the technical term is. It's like the big stem that pops out to go to the surface and flower, like you see right behind the glare there on top. I cut it off and I planted it in the substrate, and I actually super glued the little stem piece that I cut off to a rock to keep it down, because when I first planted it, the angelfish, of course, was bugging it and it popped out of the substrate. So I put a rock on there to hold it down. That'd be awesome if that would grow nice and big, just like the back corner. And then actually behind that new Amazon sword is the last plant, the Crypt Wendidee. That plant you see right there next to the little Amazon sword is the one that's been doing the best out of all of them. I have about 5 or 6 little plants around that are just starting now to pop back. So you can see the large plant right there, and then there's a smaller one, and then there's a few more behind the driftwood back there, but that one plant there in between those two Amazon swords has been doing the best out of all of them. There's one more down in between the two pieces of driftwood behind the micro sword, and that one is just starting to sprout leaves as well. That one melted completely, like crypts usually do. So unfortunately you can see I have glare problems when filming, but this is just a really hard spot because there's a glare about from every direction where this tank is. So yeah, as you can see, tank's doing well, fish are doing well. I'm doing 50% water changes as often as I can. Sometimes if I work 2 or 3 days in a row, I don't have time, so I have to stretch that gap and hope for the best. There hasn't been any really bad signs of fish distress from high levels of ammonia or nitrite, but I have been testing my water regularly, and there's still slight traces of ammonia, but I assume that will start to fade away now because I added the fully cycled media from the 20 gallon into the right AquaClear, and the left AquaClear has had Biomax in it for the whole entire setup of this tank. So I assume that that problem will correct itself, and if not, I'm doing water changes regularly enough, and the plants have been soaking up a lot, I also would assume. No nitrite so far, no traces of nitrite, and I actually haven't gotten any nitrates yet, so that's a little bit odd to me, but I will keep testing my water and kind of track that and see how that's going. But as you can see, fish are doing well. Angelfish is still kind of exploring. He's still kind of shell-shocked, I think. The Harlequin Rasboras have been schooling. They look really nice when they're all together, but there's like one little runt I know that sometimes doesn't always make it with the group. And I just think it'll take a little bit of time for them to adjust and for the angelfish to chase them for them to school a little bit tighter. So yeah, the fish are doing well, plants are doing well, and now I'm going to go over and show you what the 20 gallon looks like now. Okay guys, so here's the 20 gallon. What my process was I moved the fish. I moved the Harlequin Rasboras first, and then the Cories, and then I moved the angelfish last, and then I filled and drained this thing, I would say probably 6 or 7 times, vacuuming the gravel each time. and scraping the glass off with a razor blade, because believe it or not, that's the only thing that would get the green spot algae and the blackbeard algae that was attached to the glass off. And so I drained it the best I could with my siphon hose, and you can see there's a little bit of water still down in the bottom, at the bottom of the gravel. So what I have is this little USB fan circulating in here 24/7. This is how I dried out the sand in the goldfish tank as well, and it worked pretty well. So what I do is I'll go in here about like twice or 3 times a day and just stir it around, expose the wet gravel, and just incorporate the moisture so the fan can get to it and dry it out. And I just have the heater sitting in there because I don't really have anywhere to put it, so I just let it hang over the edge. And then the light fixture on top as well, just kind of zip tied up the cords. So there's a 20-gallon. Don't have any plans for it really. If you live in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota and you're interested, I guess you could message me on YouTube. I'm not looking at a certain price point yet, but the light fixture was expensive, and the heater and the tank was expensive. So yeah, if you're interested, I doubt I'll get many responses. But yeah, you can message me on YouTube. Otherwise, I might end up posting this on Craigslist. I'm not exactly sure. Okay guys, thanks for watching. This about finishes up this video. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing a giveaway once I hit 150. I'm very close. I'm at about 145 right now. I will be doing a video announcing the prizes and the entry specifications as well. Stay tuned for that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so I know to do other videos like this. Leave any comments if you have any tips on definitely the plants, the Rotala for sure. Any dosing parameters I'm dosing. Secum Flourish, iron, and potassium currently. If you have any advice on maybe trouble you've had with those in the past, or maybe you want to give me advice about like underdosing because you've had algae blooms or anything, that's greatly appreciated. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.